Welcome to chapter 3 of number theory. In this chapter we are going to discuss two important concepts of number theory. One is arithmetic functions, other is nth roots of unity. Arithmetic functions are also called number theoretic functions. Arithmetic functions are mapping from natural numbers to real or complex numbers. Those who are familiar with sequences, they can understand that arithmetic functions are same as sequences. The codomain of most of our arithmetic functions in this module which we are going to discuss are confined to integers. In particular, we are going to discuss tau function which counts the number of positive divisors of a given natural number n, and sigma function which counts sum of all divisors of given natural number n, and a Mobius function which takes values either 0 or 1 or minus 1. So, in the chapter 3 arithmetic functions and roots of unity, module 1 introduction to arithmetic functions. The learning objectives of this module are introduction to arithmetic functions, multiplicative function and completely multiplicative function, properties of few well known multiplicative functions, and perfect numbers. An arithmetic function takes positive integers as inputs and produces real or complex numbers as output. For example, the actual definition is like this: a function f from natural numbers to c is called a number theoretic or arithmetic function. Although codomain of number theoretic function is not required to be an integer, but most of the arithmetic functions that we will encounter are integer valued. We will now give few examples of arithmetic functions and study their properties. Few well known arithmetic functions. Given a positive integer n, the number of positive divisors of n denoted by tau of n, that is tau of n is equal to summation d divides n 1. So, whenever d divides n, for each divisor I will count 1. So, this gives sum of all the divisors of number of all divisors of n. For example, the table gives 1, it is tau of 1 is 1, it is because 1 has only one divisor, 2 has two divisors 1 and 2, 3 has again two divisors 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 4 has three divisors 1, 2 and 4, prime number 5, 7 has only two divisors. So, tau of 5 is 2 as well as tau of 7 is 2, tau of 6 is 4 and tau of 10 is 4, it is because 6 has 4 divisors, 10 has 4 divisors and so on. The sum of divisors of n is denoted by sigma of n. That means sigma of n is equal to sum of all divisors which divides n. So, that is summation d divides n d. So, again here it is easy to see sigma of value at prime numbers. Sigma of 7 is 8, it is because 7 plus 1, and sigma of 5 is 6, 5 plus 1. So, whenever n is a prime number, then sigma of p is equal to 1 plus p. Sigma of 10 is equal to 18, it is because 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus and 10. So, we are going to get sigma of 10 is equal to 18 and sigma of 9 is 13 and so on. So, and similarly we can extend this sigma function, sigma k of n is equal to summation d divides n d power k. So, when k is equal to 0 we are going to get tau function, when k equal to 1 we will get a sigma function, and we are going to define other arithmetic functions. One is mu function, u of n is equal to 1 for all n, that is u is a constant function, it takes only value 1 for all natural numbers n, and n of n is equal to n for all n natural numbers. I of n is defined as equal to 1 when n equal to 1, 0 otherwise. So, this function we are going to use has many applications, we will see in the Dirichlet product or some other places. And another important function is the Mobius function, whose values are defined like this: mu of n is equal to 0 if n is not a square free number. Not square free means p square divides n for some prime p. For example, 12 is not a square free, it is because 4 divides 12, 4 means 2 square divides 12. Mu of n is equal to 1 when n is square free, but has even number of prime factors, and which is equal to minus 1 if n is square free and has odd number of prime factors. So, this is a table. So, you can see that mu of 4 is equal to 0, it is because 2 square divides 4, mu of 9 is equal to 0 because 3 square divides 9, mu of 8 is equal to 0, whereas mu of 10 is equal to 1, it has only 2 prime factors 2 and 5, mu of 6 is also 1, whereas mu of 5, mu of 7 and mu of 3 or mu of 2 it is minus 1, it is because they have only 1 prime factors. And we are going to define divisor sum function. Fix a positive integer n and an arithmetic function f, then the divisor sum of f at n is denoted by df of n is defined as it is equal to sum of all values of f at all positive divisors of n. That is, symbolically we can represent as df of n is equal to d divides n f of d. That is, notice that divisor sum function is a function which takes an arithmetic function as an input and produces an arithmetic function as an output. Okay. So, now divisor sum function has some nice properties. Before going to discuss those, look at this nice theorem that if f is a mapping from natural numbers to z plus be a function and it is defined as f of n is equal to n power k, then f is an arithmetic function, that is clear. And also note that there is a divisor function df is equal to sigma k itself. And similarly, du is going to be a tau function, dn is equal to sigma function, and d Mobius function d mu is equal to I we defined earlier, I of n is equal to 1 if n is equal to 0, I of n is equal to 1, I of n is equal to 0 whenever n is not equal to 1. So, now the proof of 1 and 2 are directly follows from the definition. So, of the respect to arithmetic functions. So, we are going to prove only part 3, that is d of Mobius function. So, we are going to prove this result by induction. So, the result clearly holds for n is equal to 1, that is d mu of 1 is equal to just mu of 1, it has because 1 has only one divisor, that is 1. So, and mu of 1 is equal to 1. Now, so let n is greater than 1, then the fundamental theorem of arithmetic n can be expressed as p1 power a1 into p2 power a2 and so on pk power ak, where p1, p2 and so on pk are distinct primes and a is greater than 1 for all I. As mu of d is equal to 0 whenever d is not square free, we have that d mu of n is equal to mu of 1 plus mu of pi plus mu of pi into pj and so on mu of p1, p2 up to pk. Remaining terms are automatically 0, it is because Mobius function is 0 whenever it is not a square free. It is not square free. Thus, using binomial expansion, binomial theorem, a plus b whole power n is equal to summation I is equal to 0 to n choose I, a power n minus I, b power I. We have that d mu of n is equal to 1 plus k choose 1 minus 1. It is because p1, p2 there are k primes dividing n. So, we have k choose 1 minus 1 and k choose 2 minus 1 whole square and so on k choose k minus 1 whole power k. This is nothing but 1 minus 1 whole power k, that is equal to 0. Hence, the result follows. Now, we are going to define a multiplicative function. An arithmetic function f is said to be a multiplicative function if f of m into n is equal to f of m into f of n whenever GCD of m comma n equal to 1. An arithmetic function is said to be completely multiplicative function if f of m n is equal to f of m into f of n. Here there is no condition on m and n. If you look at in the multiplicative function, the GCD of m comma n has to be 1, whereas in the completely multiplicative function there is no condition. Simply a function is said to be completely multiplicative if f of m n equal m into n is equal to f of m into f of n. So, by definition every completely multiplicative function is multiplicative since there is no restriction on m and n. So, for example, u and n are completely multiplicative function, that is easy to verify, hence they are also multiplicative. So, what is the advantage of the multiplicative and completely multiplicative function? If f is multiplicative and n1, n2 and so on nk are pairwise relatively prime positive integers, then f of n1, n2 and so on nk is equal to f of n1 into f of n2 and so on f of nk. So, if whenever n1, n2, nk are relatively prime, so in order to evaluate f at n1, n2 product f n1, n2 and so on nk, then it is sufficient to evaluate at f at n1, f at n2 and so on f at nk. So, consequently f is multiplicative, then in order to evaluate f of n for any positive integer n, it is sufficient to evaluate only at f at prime powers. So, that is where n is equal to p1 power k1, p2 power k2 and so on pr power kr. That is the prime factorization of n, then f of n is same as f of p1 power k1 into f of p2 power k2 and so on f of pr power kr. So, further if f is completely multiplicative, then f of n is equal to f of p1 power k1, f of p2 power k2 and so on f of pr power kr. That is, if you know the values of f at prime numbers, then we know the values of at every positive integer. So, that is an advantage of completely multiplicative function. It is sufficient to know just the value of f at prime values only. So, f is, if now we are going to give one result, f is multiplicative but not identically 0, then f of 1 is equal to 1. So, the proof goes like this. Since f is not identically 0, that means that there is at least one integer in fact natural number m such that f of m is not equal to 0, but f of m is equal to f of m into 1. Since the GCD of m comma 1 is 1 and f is multiplicative, so f of m into 1 is equal to f of m into f of 1, and since f of m is not equal to 0, hence we are going to get f of 1 is equal to 1. So, this is one of the important property. If f is a multiplicative and not identically 0, then f of 1 is going to be 1. Now, we will see that if f is a multiplicative function, then df is also multiplicative. Recall that df is a divisor sum of f. So, if f is multiplicative, then df is also multiplicative. So, proof goes very easily that let GCD of a comma b equal to 1. Okay, let us take two integers a b and GCD of a b equal to 1. Let x and y are any two positive divisors of a b respectively, then x y is a positive divisor of a into b. So, conversely, if m divides a b, then there exists x and y belongs to z such that m is equal to x y, and also x divides a as well as and y divides b. So, this is easy to verify. Hence, df of ab at ab, since GCD of ab equal to 1, we have to show df is multiplicative. So, I need to show that df of ab equal to df of a into df of b. So, but by definition df of ab is equal to f of m, where m divides ab, but m divides ab and GCD of ab is 1. So, m is of the form x into y, where x divides a and y divides b. So, summation x divides a, summation y divides b f of x y, that can be written as summation x divides a and summation y divides b f of x into f of y. It is because it is given f is multiplicative. So, now these in such a way that we can group like this, summation x divides a f of x into summation y divides b f of y. So, that is same as df of a into df of b. So, we proved that if f is a multiplicative function, then df is also a multiplicative function. So, since the functions mu, n and I are multiplicative, so by using previous theorem we can observe that tau, sigma and mu are also multiplicative functions. But we will give an independent proof of all these results, as they give some extra information about the actual functions. But actually we already know that now tau, sigma and mu are multiplicative functions, but we are giving an alternative proofs. So, first one we are going to show that the Mobius function mu is multiplicative. Okay. So, theorem is the Mobius function mu is multiplicative. The proof goes like this: let a comma b are relatively prime positive integers and let b be a prime such that p square divides a or p square divides b, then clearly p square divides a b. In that case mu of a b is equal to 0. So, that is also equal to mu of a into mu of b. It is because if p square divides a, then mu of a is 0, if p square divides b, then mu of b is 0. So, mu of a b equal to mu of a into mu of b. So, now let us assume that both a and b are square free integers, then a is equal to p1, p2 and so on pr, none of them p1, p2 are repeated. Similarly, b equal to q1, q2 and so on qs, So, the primes q1, q1, p1, p2 and so on pr, q1, q2, qs are all distinct as GCD of a comma b equal to 1. Now, by definition mu of AB is equal to mu of p1, p2 and so on pr into q1, q2 and so on qs, which is equal to minus 1 whole power r plus s, which is equal to minus 1 whole power r into minus 1 whole power s, which is equal to mu of a into mu of b. Now, we are going to prove another theorem, that is, let n is equal to p1 power k1 into p2 power k2 and so on pr power kr be the prime factorization of n greater than or equal to 2 into distinct primes, then tau of n is equal to k1 plus 1 into k2 plus 1 and so on kr plus 1, and sigma of n is equal to p1 power k1 plus 1 minus 1 by p1 minus 1 and so on pr power kr plus 1 minus 1 by pr minus 1. So, proof is very simple. We are going to first prove the first one, that tau of n value. Let D be any divisor of n. We know that D is of the form p1 power a1 into p2 power a2 and so on pr power ar, where 0 is less than or equal to a is less than or equal to ki. So, for each I 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to r, ai has ki plus 1 possible choices. So, also the choices for A is independent as choice of AJ. A is independent of choice of AJ whenever I not equal to J. The number of possible divisors of n are, so k1 plus 1 into k2 plus 1 and so on kr plus 1. Since because there are k1 plus 1 choices for A1, k2 plus 1 choices for A2 and so on, kr plus 1 choices for AR. Now, we will go to give the proof of part 2. Observe that each positive divisor of n occurs exactly once as a term in the expansion of the product 1 plus p1 and so on p1 power k1 into 1 plus p2 and so on p2 power k2 and so on 1 plus pr plus and so on pr power kr, which is going to give exactly the sigma of n. Okay. If you multiply all these, for example, 1 1 1, if I multiply I will get 1 plus p1 plus p2 and so on, we will get all the divisors, sum of all the divisors. So, sigma of n is exactly equal to this. So, but we know that by geometric progression with the common ratio p1, we know that 1 plus p1 plus and so on plus p1 power k1 is nothing but p1 power k1 plus 1 minus 1 by p1 minus 1 and so on. So, 1 plus pr and so on plus pr power kr is equal to pr power kr plus 1 minus 1 by pr minus 1. So, because of that, now we are going to show that tau sigma are multiplicative by using the previous result. The arithmetic functions tau and sigma are multiplicative. Since m and n are relatively prime positive integers, in order to show the multiplicative we need to choose two integers which are relatively prime. Then by result, previous result, clearly the result is clearly true for when m or n is equal to 1. So, assume that n comma n is greater than or equal to 2, then by fundamental theorem of arithmetic there exist distinct primes p1, p2 and so on pr, q1, q2 and so on qr, and positive integers a1, a2 and so on ar, b1, b2, br, such that m is equal to p1 power a1 into and so on pr power ar, n is equal to q1 power b1 and so on qs power bs. So, m into n is equal to p1 power a1 and so on pr power ar, q1 power b1 and so on qs power bs. Thus, tau of mn is equal to, just now we proved by previous result, tau of mn is equal to just exponents plus 1 multiply, we have to multiply all multiplication of exponents plus 1. So, a1 plus 1 into a2 plus 1 and so on ar plus 1 into b1 plus 1 into b2 plus 1 and so on bs plus 1. This is simply equal to tau of m into tau of n. Similarly, sigma of mn also we can prove in the similar fashion, that is sigma of mn is equal to p1 power a1 plus 1 minus 1 by p1 minus 1 and so on pr power ar plus 1 minus 1 by pr minus 1 into remaining other portion. So, that is equal to sigma of n into sigma of n. Now, we give an example, let n greater than or equal to b be a positive integer if the prime factorization of n into distinct primes is given by n is equal to p1 power k1 and so on pr power kr, and which is greater than or equal to 2, then tau of n is odd if and only if n is a perfect square. The proof is easy to see. It is because 2 of n is equal to k1 plus 1 into and so on kr plus 1. So, it is perfect square if and only if 2 divides each ki. Okay. So, that is why in that case tau of n becomes odd. We showed that tau, sigma and Mobius functions are multiplicative. Multiplicative functions are nice. It is because in the multiplicative function, if you know the values at prime powers, then it is possible to know for all natural numbers. Multiplicative functions contains further another important function, subclass of functions called completely multiplicative functions. Once we know the completely multiplicative function value at prime values, then it is possible to know their values at all natural numbers. Now, we are going to discuss an important subset of natural numbers called perfect numbers. Now, we are going to discuss important set of natural numbers, subset of natural numbers called perfect numbers. A positive number n is said to be perfect number if sigma of n is equal to 2n, that is sum of all the divisors of n is equal to twice that number. That is, m is a perfect number if sum of all divisors is 2 into m. The smallest perfect number is 6. It is because 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6, the divisors of 6 is equal to 12, that is equal to 2 into 6. So, the following is a perfect number eye chart given by Ron Rumlar in his letters in mathematics teacher. It is given in November 1996. So, even perfect numbers. Euclid gave an important result for the even perfect numbers. Very long back he given this result. Let n greater than or equal to b be a positive integer, then 2 power n minus 1 is a prime number. Then 2 power n minus 1 into 2 power n minus 1 is a perfect number. That is, let n greater than or equal to 2 be a positive integer such that 2 power n minus 1 is prime. Then this 2 power n minus 1 into 2 power n minus 1 becomes a perfect number. So, the proof goes like this. Let us assume that m is equal to 2 power n minus 1 into 2n minus 1. Here we are assuming that 2n minus 1 is a prime number. So, since 2 power n minus 1 is prime, so sigma of 2 power n minus 1 is equal to 1 plus sigma 2 power n minus 1, that is equal to 2 power n. As sigma is multiplicative function and GCD of 2 power n minus 1 comma 2 power n minus 1 is equal to 1, we have that sigma of n is equal to sigma of 2 power n minus 1 into sigma of 2 power n minus 1. Okay, but sigma of 2 power n minus 1 is equal to 1 plus 2 square and so on 2 power n minus 1, and we know that sigma, we just know we showed that sigma of 2 power n minus 1 is 2 power n because 2 power n minus 1 is prime. So, by multiplying these two we are going to get 2 power n minus 1 minus 1 by 2 minus 1 into 2 power n, that is exactly equal to 2m. So, Euclid given this proof very long back. So, once you have that 2 power n minus 1 is prime, then that is going to give a perfect number. But its converse is also true, but converse is proved by Euler after very long time gap. So, Euler proved the converse of the above result, which is stated here. Let m be an even perfect number, then m is of the form 2 power n minus 1 into 2 power n minus 1 whenever n is greater than or equal to 2 and 2 power n minus 1 is a prime number. The proof goes like this. Let m be an even perfect number, say m is equal to 2 power t into q, where q is odd positive integer. We claim that q is prime and also it is of the form 2 power t plus 1 minus 1. Here we are assuming that m is even perfect number. Since m is perfect number, so 2 power t plus 1 into q, which is equal to 2m, which is equal to sigma of m. It is because m we taken as 2 power t into q. So, sigma of m, 2m is equal to sigma m because m is a perfect number. So, which is equal to 1 plus 2 plus and so on 2 power t into sigma of q, which is equal to 2 power t plus 1 minus 1 into sigma of q. So, what we have is, and further the GCD of 2 2 power t plus 1 minus 1 comma 2 power t plus 1 is 1, 2 power t plus 1 has to divide sigma of q because of that. So, sigma of q is equal to 2 power t plus 1 into s for some odd positive integer s. So, thus 1 reduces like this, q is equal to 2 power t plus 1 minus 1 into s. Now, only one thing left to show is s equal to 1 and q is prime. So, that also follows easily, since sigma of q is equal to 2 power t plus 1 into s, we observed that q is equal to 2 power t plus 1 minus 1 into s, which is equal to sigma of q minus s. So, just by substituting those values, or equivalently sigma of q is equal to q plus s. So, sigma of q is equal to q plus s. So, it has only two divisors. So, obviously s is going to be 1. Thus, we see that factors of q should be only q and s. This happens only s must be equal to 1 and 2 power t plus 1 minus 1 must be a prime. So, the following two results are taken from the article The Greatest 2-Point Answer Ever by William Dunham and Hank Snedden, Math Horizons 2014. So, what is this result says is, let m be a even perfect number, then sigma of m is greater than 4m. The proof is follows like this, let m be an even perfect number, then earlier result we showed that m is of the form 2 power n minus 1 into 2 power n minus 1 for some positive integer n such that 2 power n minus 1 is a prime. Since sigma of m is equal to 2m, we have sigma of m is equal to sigma of 2m, that is sigma of 2 power n into 2 power n minus 1, as m is of the form 2 power n minus 1 into 2 power n minus 1. So, we have this. So, again 2 power n and 2 power n minus 1 are relatively prime. So, that is why sigma of 2 power n into sigma of 2 power n minus 1, this is equal to 1 plus 2 plus and so on 2 power n, and sigma of 2 power n minus 1, that is since it is a prime number, we are going to get 2 power n minus 1 plus 1. So, which is going to be like this, 2 power n plus 1 minus 1 into 2 power n. So, here just we replace 1 by 2. So, clearly 2 power n plus 1 minus 1 into 2 power n is greater than 2 power n plus 1 minus 2 into 2 power n. So, that is nothing but exactly 4 into m. So, we proved the result. One also gets the exact value of sigma of m whenever m is a perfect square, perfect number. The result says like this, let m be an even perfect number, then sigma of m is equal to 4m plus 1 plus square root of 1 plus 8m by 2. The proof goes like this, by previous result we have that m is equal to 2 power n minus 1 into 2n minus 1, since m is a perfect number it should be like this, and also 2 power n minus 1 is a prime number. Thus, we see that 2 power 2n minus 1 minus 2 power n minus 1 minus m is equal to 0, or equivalently 2n square minus 2n minus 2m is equal to 0. Thus, 2 power n is a root of quadratic equation x square minus x minus 2m is equal to 0. Hence, we are going to get 2 power n is equal to 1 plus square root of 1 plus 8m by 2. So, we now prove the required equality using the thing that n is greater than or equal to 2 and the above by using the value of 2 power n. Sigma of m is equal to sigma of 2m. So, that is equal to 2 power n plus 1 minus 1 into 2 power n. So, which is again we can rewrite it as 4 times 2 power 2n minus 1 minus 2 power n minus 2. So, which further can be simplified in that way. So, which is going to become 4m plus 2 power n or 4m plus 2n value, if in the previous slide, from the previous slide you can collect. So, 4m plus 1 plus square root of 1 plus 8m by 2. In this module we defined arithmetic functions and we saw various examples of arithmetic functions. We also saw examples for multiplicative and completely multiplicative arithmetic functions. Finally, we discussed perfect numbers. in the perfect numbers there are lot of open problems. For example, still no one knows there are infinite number of perfect numbers or not. Even no one able to produce existence of odd perfect number, means no one knows whether there exists a odd perfect number or not. Odd, whatever all the results which we proved till now are related to even perfect numbers. So, if one able to prove odd perfect number, then it is a very good achievement. So, like that there are so many open problems for perfect numbers.